Hi, welcome back. This is from the blog post, What Do You Mean I Don't Exist? And if you notice my eyes moving around, it's because I'm actually reading the blog post so that I can make sure that things line up well. Again, if you're somebody who prefers reading, you can find it Blogger. And if you prefer video, which I assume that's why you're here, then here we are. So one of the challenges of living in a small town across America is their dependence on the post office, which is not a problem in and of itself. I love the postal service. I've always loved getting things in the mail as a kid and sending cards, letters, and packages to my loved ones, which reminds me I need to send one. And the stamps are so cute. They're always so cute. I love looking at the new ones, and I'm planning on getting some of the ones that are out now. It's a problem when you're trying to get packages delivered by any other means, or when you're changing your credit card or bank information, because those like physical addresses. Also PayPal, eBay fall under that umbrella. I spent months trying to get PayPal to accept my information, sending them copies of my driver's license to prove that I do exist as a person with that name. But it has the P.O. box on it, because if it gets lost and dropped in the mail, that's the place where it will go, not my house. Sending many copies of the utility bill, even with the service address highlighted, to prove that there's a physical address that goes with this person's name. Finally, the faceless organization updated my information and I was able to send money. Yay! It took several complaints and much sending of information. And now eBay has decided that I have to update my information to my physical address. It won't accept the P.O. box, and I got the error that my house address was not in the post office records, which is the big error message we get when trying to input into things. I went straight to contacting a person this time. I wasn't going to mess with sending copies of things back and forth. I spoke to a lovely woman who had a great grasp of the issue, but it was outside her scope, and so she transferred me to someone who had more experience with the issue. And we tried a few things, and then it went to the hands of a higher tech team. And the person I spoke to said that their solution would include looking at Google Maps to see if the address does indeed exist. All that just so that eBay can stop accepting PayPal. So I have family who's had issues with the IRS while trying to claim the first-time homeowner's credit for an address that doesn't exist in government records. And these are not new houses. These houses have been around for decades. This house is almost as old as I am. My family member's house is even older. So there's apparently a process that you have to go through to get it put in official records, and it's just not there. And don't get me started on things that we cannot get shipped to our P.O. box. Nothing with batteries, which means no Kindles, no phones, no Roomba. Our workaround is we would have it shipped to where a family member worked, and they would get to them, which you have to be able to input the address, the department, and the person you want to pick it up. And not all addresses have space for all that information. So someone in the department sometimes end up opening it up once it gets to the department. And so they want to see how it relates to the department. What is this package from Amazon? I'm not sure what they thought of my boxes with toothpaste or yarn or even zippers for a project I did for my Munchkin. If you're lucky, no one else will claim your package, especially if it's company bonus carrot cake that ends up going to the break room instead of to your family holiday dinner. So can you imagine not even being offered a piece of what your holiday dessert was? So all it takes is for one of those many lines to go missing from the address. Another workaround is to input our home address with our box number at the end of our name, and the post office will put it right. But not every site accepts the house address, since, as mentioned previously, it doesn't exist. And so it just really reinforces the idea that most of what we want is really not a need, it's a want. And so while the kiddo may have a preference for Daniel Tiger toothpaste, she may have to deal with Paw Patrol, since it's what the store in town has in stock. And even preschoolers can be a little flexible. We moved here for the beauty, but it still has a lot of the do-it-yourself, make do with what you have frontier ethos. The lesson learned for the situation? I didn't know how to check that out before moving. No, maybe make sure that the house has a mailbox nearby so it has a residential delivery, or maybe try sending yourself a package to this new address to see if you have any difficulties. We have difficulties with family members trying to order us gifts through large corporations and having it sent to us in time for holidays. Sometimes they've had to work around and send it to themselves and then send it to us, which, you know, removes the bonus of free shipping. Our van is over 10 years old and the map is out of date, so it can't find its way to some of the addresses out of town. Anything that's been changed in the last 10 years, our van doesn't know anything about. The map program on the phones are also not accurate. I'm sure other people have had these issues. We've had these issues in larger towns. So you have to build in time to get lost when you're trying to find someplace or get directions from a local. And that's what we've had to do several times when we've looked at properties or houses around town. Even the directions that you get from websites are not necessarily correct. So get directions from a local or just have them take you there. Get your directions lined up before you leave town, since we lose cell phone service by the time we're like 12 miles out of town. Probably before that, but our landmark is the sledding hill and it's near mile 12, and that's already out of range. So we also do not have UPS pickups or drop-offs that work conveniently. Our UPS driver comes from the closest town, which is still hours away, and silently sneaks packages onto our porch before 8 a.m. So even if we wanted to give him something, like, we have to be really on the ball to get it to him before he shows up. When we sold our house, when we moved up here, my real estate agent in the lower 48 was aghast that overnight delivery meant 2 days. I could drop it off at a place in town, but somebody still had to come down and pick it up by a certain point. So yeah, 2-day delivery is overnight. So to sum up, small towns are lovely. They are, but there can be drawbacks in the basic services that most people take for granted, even federally operated services. But I don't know if I would trade it in. I'm looking out my window. It's a beautiful view. I don't know if I would trade these in. Again, you just learn to deal with things. The things that we want are not the things that we need. See y'all later.